Can a teenager be one of the greatest chess players? Meet Abdulsattorov Nodirbek. Although he is 17 years old, his reputation is as an absolute grandmaster murderer. Do you want to see the best teenager's game against Magnus Carlsen, who has already won 3 times and is going for the 4th one? Let's go to the World Rapid Championships. This game is going to be shocking and beautiful. Let's go! Magnus Carlsen previously defeated Alireza Firouzja and Krzysztof Duda in the World's Rapid semi-finals. He got number 1 in the tournament, boasting a 7.5 out of 9 score. Besides, Magnus was the super talent who beat Anatoly Karpov when he was just 13 years old. In his turn, Nodirbek defeated the top 10 chess juggernauts, such as Levon, Aronian and Fabiano, Caruana. So let's not underestimate him, he will shock Magnus. It seems that Magnus thinks the game will be over very soon, so we'll see. Nodirbek gets the whites and starts with pawn to c4. Magnus, he seems distracted, thinks for a while before responding with knight f6. A few more moves and the game turns into an English opening with the white pawns on c4 and e4 and black knights on c6 and f6. Magnus moves the black squared bishop forward to b4, attacking the white knight. Nodirbek pushes his pawn to d3. They keep making more developing moves, pushing knights and pawns to the center and making space for the bishops. Eventually, Nodirbek takes Magnus's bishop on f3 away. In its turn, the black queen comes on the f-file. Magnus's queen to f6. Thus, he offers Nodirbek to trade queens. What will he answer? Will the decision to trade bring any use? He admits that no one needs an early endgame except Magnus because Carlsen is a prominent endgame player. He creates advantageous positions from nothing. Thus, Nodirbek refuses to give up his queen and moves it back to d1. This is the right time to seize the initiative, and Magnus plays his pawns to g5. He wants to play his other pawn to h5, attacking white's king. The latter, you can see, hides securely behind the 3 pawns. Magnus offers another queen trade on g4. He wants the endgame so bad. This time, Nodirbek agrees to the trade. Do you want to know how Magnus plans and considers the upcoming complicated lines? He fidgets, pieces in his hands as he's doing right now. His opponent, Nodirbek, wants to play quickly, displaying an almost impatient body language. After a few moves, Nodirbek managed to advance his pawn to g6. Nodirbek responded by moving his pawn up again, just 1 square away from becoming a queen. If successful, Nodirbek would win the game. Recognizing the imminent threat, Magnus swiftly moved his queen to h7, attempting to capture the pawn while initiating a trade-off of pieces. An expression of surprise flashed across Magnus's face as he acknowledged Nodirbek's exceptional gameplay. The game evolved into a position where all material on the board was equal. However, Nodirbek possessed a dangerous passed pawn on h2, posing a significant threat. Magnus knew he had to defend against it, and his first move was to place his knight on c5. Although it seemed to threaten a pawn, it was merely a diversion, as capturing the pawn would result in a checkmate after Nodirbek's queen moved to h3. Several more moves were made without any substantial developments. Eventually, 2 pawns were traded off the board. Magnus realized that winning from this position was highly unlikely given Nodirbek's passed pawn and the limited number of remaining pieces. Magnus's priority was to prevent Nodirbek's pawn from promoting, which would put him in a losing position. Consequently, Magnus played his knight to g5, simultaneously attacking white's queen and the king, and forcing a trade-off with a bishop and knight. This maneuver would make it easier for Magnus to impede the progress of Nodirbek's pawn, since his bishop would no longer be available to support it. Nodirbek delighted in delivering a check to Magnus, finding joy in challenging the world champion. Though not pleased with being checked, Magnus recognized the game's competitive nature. Both players were still making near-optimal moves, resulting in a wholly drawn game. However, this equilibrium was about to shift in just a few moves. After checking Magnus's king, Nodirbek played h7, threatening to promote his pawn to a queen. Aware of the dire consequences, Magnus, with little time left on the clock, played queen e5 to defend the promoting square. Regrettably, this move was a mistake, but only if Nodirbek spotted the opportunity. Nodirbek missed it, and the game returned to a balanced state. Eager to retaliate for the earlier checks, Magnus unleashed a series of stringent checks upon Nodirbek. He intended to prevent white from promoting their pawn. As the checks continued, everything seemed like it was going to end in a hard-earned draw. Magnus finally believed that the game was coming to a close. Yet, in a fateful moment, Magnus made the worst possible move. he advanced his pawn by 1 square, unknowingly granting Nodirbek an opportunity for a devastating move. Nodirbek swiftly played queen to d2, forcing Magnus to make the only move that didn't result in a quick check. Unfortunately, what Magnus overlooked was that the movement still resulted in a check, just not the square his queen was covering. Realizing the grave mistake, Magnus instantly resigned. Nodirbek had ingeniously forced a trade of queens, and after the exchange his pawn would be promoted to a new queen. This maneuver shattered Magnus's chances of winning the 2021 World Rapid Chess Championship, instead granting the crown to a new and unexpected champion, the 17-year-old Abdulsattorov Nodirbek. That was crazy and huge. Games like these genuinely take the breath away. If you want to get more, subscribe to the YouTube channel and keep receiving new videos. Good luck.